All right, let's do it.
A really grueling interrogation.
Yeah.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Hey everyone, we are LDG. I'm Brooks.
I'm Kitty.
And I am Lizzy.
We are lucky enough to be joined by brothers Alexis and Edgar Guevara. Did I say it right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nailed it. From Pearly Pigeon. Here to celebrate their upcoming Kickstarter that launches today?
no, June 17th.
So close. I'm really good with dates, as
What
you
is
can tell. And your guys' company, Pearly Pigeon. So we're just going to get that kicked off. Liz is going to get us started with
Yeah.
the grueling and
Yeah, exactly. So from the moment I met your guys' logo, I fell in love with it. Can you just go through a little bit of the backstory of how you came up with your logo and just the name of your company? I'm curious.
Yeah, you got that one, Alex. I think
Me? Oh,
you know the whole story, right?
okay. So, I mean, we're coming from New York, and people always look at as pigeons as like,
Sky Rats.
exactly, sky rats. But
I love pigeons.
we have a connection when it comes to pigeons. We think they're awesome. They're resilient, they're intelligent, and they're beautiful. And so to give it a little bit more flair, just give it a feeling, to make it sound nice. Pearly Pigeon,
Absolutely. We were obsessed with your name from the beginning because we're the weirdos that feed the pigeons outside of our office.
It's a New York thing, if anything. Yeah, it's
I guess it's kind of like the opposite, right? Like when people look at pigeons, they're like, oh, they're like street rats, or they're dirty, and like we believe that they're pretty awesome. I mean, they adapt to cities, they adapt to everything, and there's something beautiful about it. So just give it the opposite look to it. A pearly pigeon. I think that's a nice ring to it. I think you made that name, right? You created that name, Alex, and then you said, hey, Edgar, do something with this logo, with this name.
yeah, he's the one that made. Edgar's the artist. He's the one
Yeah.
he does the majority of the art.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And so one time I just made it based on how it sounded like, and just kind of throw some little nice blues and purple hues and pinks in there, and the pigeon. We have two logos. We have the one they have the pigeon, and then we have just the circle logo and
The pearl.
yeah, the pearl. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So-
all, plus I like the kind of connotations to carrier pigeon and information going back and forth. It's very board game themed, so we love it.
Yeah, you could totally feel that. And speaking of board games and inspiration, can you guys talk a little bit more about the inspiration behind Ro Sham Bo itself?
So, when we created Ro Sham Bo, we kind of wanted to make a game that goes back to like the classics, the chess, the checkers, the simple two-player games, something that is intimate, that you could play with your significant other, your friends, your son or your daughter, something, or your brother, like me and my brother, and just to go back to that sense, we love these big, complicated games, the worker placement games that require 6-7 players, but it's kind of hard when the pandemic hit. How can you make these huge games? And so we wanted to create something intimate, something closer. And when it comes to Ro Sham Bo, Ro Sham Bo means rock paper scissors, but Ro Sham Bo, we don't. It's not a rock paper scissors game. That's another thing. People, the way the game is played now, rock paper scissors isn't played at all. The actual rock paper scissors game. The only reason we use Ro Sham Bo, the rock paper scissors element, is for the pieces themselves that are attacking each other. The ease of it. Everybody knows scissor beats paper and paper beats rock. So the pieces, the units in the game are those rock paper scissors, and it's just you look at it and you know automatically what could defeat what is weak against what, and just for the simplicity of it. That's the purpose of it.
Yeah, we tied it into how simple Ro Sham Bo is. When you hear it, the game should be played somewhat that simple as well. So teaching fundamentals of off the bat, once you set up the board, everything's kind of color coded. Everything is, you know what units is better against what unit. You don't have to read a manual. It's almost self-explanatory, just because it's kind of already in our heads of what Ro Sham Bo is. So it kind of opens up the fundamentals game, since also our game has multiple components. It has cards, it has miniatures, it's a abstract strategy, so it's a grid system in a sense, and there's dice involved as well. So
Just to comment on what both of you said, yeah, when it comes to the mechanics of it and stuff like that, it's so much deeper than it actually you would assume. Also, because it's I mean, we got the copy. And this is also alluding to what you said, Alexis. We got the copy in the middle of the pandemic, and it was such a fun, intimate little. But not little. It's so crazy. It's in this nice compact box, and there's lots of variety to it. It's not just like you said, rock, paper, scissors. It's kind of a sprawling battle. Yeah. I mean, for two armies. And we had one copy of it. We were lucky enough to get one of the prototypes, early prototypes. You may or may not have accidentally broken a few fingers off of your mouse. Because we aggressively played it a lot. But
it really was, like they were saying, like kind of like a light in the darkness during the pandemic, and I can see that going on beyond. It was so fun.
And we only had one copy, so we were able to play it remotely with Liz, clear in another state, and she had just as much fun playing it without even having a copy. We just moved pieces around. So it was fantastic, and we loved having that.
Talking about that, we did the same thing. Originally, the game now is on Tabletop Simulator, but when we were prototyping it, it wasn't. So it was still in this phase of everything written down, and that's how we did it as well. We were doing it through virtual camera, and we would just set up. And me and Edgar, that's how we were. It was, even though he's not that far away from me, we couldn't see each other because of the whole pandemic thing, and that's how we developed the game, right, with the camera facing down, and it worked out. But yeah, you're right. We hear that a lot, that the game is a lot more complicated, not deeper than it actually is, the way it looks. You're right, it is. The cards, the dice mechanics, especially when it comes to the artifact, the drop, how to get cards. We think that's one of the best mechanics that we developed. That we felt that this is it. This it's such a simple thing.
Yeah, the artifacts actually kind of drove you to not just hide in a corner or strafe around the edges of the board, or kind of it gave you purpose in areas of the board you might not go because there might not be enemies or anything like that. So it really helped make you flow around the board, which is really nice.
Yeah, you got it right in the money.
And I really liked that it was, you had to choose, like you pulled the two cards, you get one, but you have to give your opponent the other, and that choice is excruciating. Or you can throw them both away.
You could throw them both. You could be very salty and just say, no, nobody gets anything.
Somebody was very salty often, cough, Liz. So as new game designers, what was the process like of game development and then dipping your kind of toe in the Kickstarter pool? Because that can be intimidating and a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, so when we Edgar and me, we come back from the video game background. Edgar does a lot of 3D sculpting.
Oh, awesome!
He does Maya. He does what else? Edgar? Maya, ZBrush.
I work a lot. I'm a 3D environment artist, so I work for a lot of Maya, ZBrush, Substance Painter. We do just more in that sense, texturing and modeling.
That's amazing. We're video game addicts, so we probably might have played one at some point.
So before Edgar went to college, about how many years ago was that, Edgar? 10?
It's been a while. I would say about it's just say 10 years.
Edgar had this. I told Edgar, let's start the beginning of an idea of a board game. We love tactical games like Cartia and Final Fantasy Tactics, things like that. Shining Force. And Edgar, we took this kind of like grid system, and it was huge. It was this huge map because it's a video game, and we said we missed the idea of like, let's do the rock paper scissors kind of battle system that they could fight each other, and we put it on paper and and that's how you start pretty much like a video game when it comes to like tactical stuff. You put it on paper.
Yeah,
and that's what we did.
How you start prototyping, essentially. Yeah.
And we played it one day in my mother-in-law's. Like, this game is fun. This worked. This is actually great. We played like 3 or 4 games, and then we put the book away, and it's gone, and it disappeared. And Edgar went to college, and then freaking like 8 years later, before the pandemic hit, I'm there sitting, and I get this crazy feeling of like, man, I really want to develop. I want to, because I'm also very creative. I try to like develop new things all the time, and I said, I want to make a board game. I had this crazy itch. It was just killing me. I couldn't sleep at night. And then Edgar was like, we developed this thing. Why don't we turn this into a board game?
Man.
We opened up the book, and we saw all the rules were still there, all the information. And then the board was huge when we first started playing it, and then as we started prototyping, the board got smaller, and it got really tight.
Yeah.
And when Edgar developed it was actually Edgar's idea doing the drop system. We talked about how are we going to get cards. First, it was draw 2 cards. That's how every board game is pretty much. You draw up to 2, you draw up to 4, you draw up to, and then discard when you have, And we developed the artifact system. No more drawing cards. You actually have to go and get the cards. You have to go and search for it and collect it and decide and use it to your advantage.
Yeah, I like the tension that adds because, like I said, Liz would flank the drops, and then we'd have to be like, "Are we going to go in?" Or are we gonna...
Which I would always take the bait because I wanted the shininess,
Every
of course.
You want to position yourself around the board to try to cover as much as possible, so you have better chances of getting the artifacts. That's a cool aspect of it because I know some players like to stay back and wait for people to come to attack them, but then you're not gonna get any cards. Like you gotta wait for you're lessening your luck, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you gotta cut them off right in the middle.
Yeah, the middle's a good.
We throughout the whole almost about a couple so it's been like 6 months or out, like 6-7 months since the last build, and we kept fine tuning the game in the sense when it comes to the cards, and when we had so much play testing through Tabletop Simulator, and we just kept getting more feedback, and we were making it the way it is now. It's for me, it's perfect. People are making new strategies every time we play with a new person, and it just blows our minds that they're just integrating certain mechanics that we have, but they're mixing it with the other cards, with the passive and the immediate cards, and it's just as of right now, Alex, I think it's pretty tight right now. Yeah,
I feel when the first Kickstarter was developed, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, can we improve? Can we improve? Can we improve? I'm at a place now that I feel like no, we can't. There is no more. We got rid of. It came to a point that we actually got rid of components. There was the tokens. Remember the tokens?
Yes.
They're gone. No more tokens.
Okay.
And the reason why we got rid of them is because we felt like when you have tokens, you're kind of putting them specific to each piece. Like, okay, all your scissors have this. The way we changed it now is that once you put a passive down, all your units have them, and they all have the power. So it became much more. I don't know. It became before to me getting the passive cards were more like, okay, we get them, but we're not sure. Maybe it might be not powerful enough, and now it's the game changers.
Yeah, it changes the pace too. I think the pace complements the speed now. It's faster. It keeps the tension less, like kind of like thinking and back and forth in the sense of like for the game flow, essentially, not just strategy wise, more of the flow of the game. Because when you pick up an artifact and you have to roll for a type, it kind of like slows down the pace. But we kind of gave it to all the units, and in your head, everybody knows that it applies to all your units.
You guys have to remember that all your scissors have this power, and what if your scissors die? They all disappear. So we got rid of that because we try to look for the flaws in the game. We try to look for anything that will slow down the game, make it much more difficult to play or not as fun. Get rid of it. Just get rid of it. If it's not fun, get rid of it.
It's great to be able to objectively look at it like that and really strip away and add and strip away and add. And
it hurt.
Yeah, we like the old artifact system, but we felt maybe we could be implemented later on. But as of right now, as a core, I think it's best just to apply it to all the units, just because it's such a tight, fast game and it's always pressure based.
Nice.
Okay, well,
Lizzy?
I was just gonna say, moving to a different aspect of this, you guys are huge on social media, despite being a bit shy. But how has that impacted your ability to develop the game, create the game, and get it out there for other people to see? So,
because of Kickstarter, you need to have some kind of you need to have a backing. You have to have a following. Sadly to say, we don't have the power. We haven't created anything before. When you're in Kickstarter and you develop a game and you're already proven, your second game goes a lot easier. People know who you are. You already have a following. We have 0 games in our background. We have nothing. All we have is the fact that we love playing board games, just like the millions of people out there. But we realized that we had to go into social media in order to just grow our presence and meet people just like you.
Exactly.
That's how we met you guys. It was a blessing. We love, because it brought us out of our shell, and knowing that this community is actually amazing. It's pretty great. Everybody's really has a, big heart, and board game it's a natural. Board games is already a community thing. Like, just to play board games, it's very rare. Like, how many, even you got co-op games that are just one player out there, but it's never one player, just one player. It's always one, solo co-op, but it's funner with more people.
Exactly.
So it made us, we realized we had to get in social media, meet people. And you're one of the first people we met, and actually one of the last people now I'm talking to launch this board game, launch this Kickstarter, which is actually, it kind of feels like a full circle kind of situation.
Yeah.
Exactly. We can really see the influence of, that you've been collaborating with a lot of people in your social sphere, and that you've been reaching out to, and you're really putting in the work for it. And I think that's another reason why we really believe in it, because we can tell that you guys really believe in it.
Yeah.
So that's what, it's nice. It doesn't just feel like someone trying to just put something out to make it. It feels like you actually care about it, and you've thought about it. And I mean, the collaboration process back and forth, even when we were playtesting, it was amazing with you guys. So that's why we're so excited to finally have it really close to being in our hands.
Yes.
So
yeah, nice pun. I like that. In hands. We're trying. All the people that we met in Instagram and Facebook, and mainly those two platforms, and then we created the tabletop simulator version, and we started playing with people. It's been positive. It's been great. We have highlights of people saying things about our game. It's just giving us the motivation to keep on going, because I spoke to Edgar. I said, Edgar, if the game is not fun and people don't like playing it, drop it. Why are we going to push something on people that they don't want to play? That's not the point. The point is making something for people to play. The worst thing is to build something and to publish something. Nobody wants it, Why would you do that? Why would we do that? That's not what we're looking for. We want to make something fun and enjoyable.
Luckily, every time we play with somebody on TTS, it's always like the same sense of when they play the first 2 rounds, just the 2 turns, they're already hooked on it. They already know how to play the game, and they love it. So it's always that. That's the thing. That's the only thing that gives us the motivation. Is all the people we play with. It just makes we know the game is good. It's not just in our heads, or we really like it because it's fun for us. It's just everybody around the world. We play with people from Chile, the Netherlands, some in Holland, and it's just
a lot of people. Some people in the UK,
yeah, and it's just the same. It's the same love. So it definitely gives us the drive to keep pushing forward in that direction.
Even when we had the original prototype, and we played it back to back to back, and I know you guys do live streams of it too.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I feel like I would want you guys on my team in Codenames, because you were like reading my mind. Because my next question was going to be about playing the game with different people throughout the community on TTS, live streaming, and if you wanted to talk about your experiences with that.
So, okay, that's interesting. Check this out. Me and Edgar hasn't played the game for probably 3 months, Edgar, I think it is.
I think more, man. I'm not going to lie. I think it's more.
Ever since we got into the tabletop scene and we started playing with other people, we've always played with other people. We don't, because before it was just me and him. And we learned each other's strategies. So we only know how to play against each other. When you start playing with other people, random people, they have their own strategies. It doesn't apply anymore. We started getting our butts kicked by playing with all these people because it doesn't work. The way I play against Edgar, it's not the same way. It's just complete, which we love. That's a good thing. And Edgar is the one that pretty much, he kind of starts it off. I kind of make that he's the player, and to play against other people, and he hates it. He absolutely likes that I'm constantly telling other people, because they're new. Come on, they need a little help to understand certain. Edgar knows certain strats, little techniques and stuff, a little extra boost. I gotta tell the other player, if you move that piece there, look at his scissor, look where it is. Edgar gets so mad.
I get so mad because when we started playtesting with people, we will both give people a little chance. Like, it could be like when you get an artifact, give them the better card in the situation a couple of times, and every time we do that, or let them make a bad movement for them to come to you just one time, and every time we do that, we get destroyed.
Yeah, it just takes one bad decision,
and then from there on, we agreed like, okay, we're gonna play hard. We're gonna play for reals every time because these are blind plays. These are board gamers. They're not just
exactly.
Yeah,
you know how to play board games.
Yeah, so like, why would we give them a chance? They know how to play these games. Once they know the rules, they know how to play. So I've been going aggressive every single time now. And when I see my brother, my only partner in the situation, helping the other team, he's like, hey, you could just, he's gonna do this. I'm like, he knows how I'm gonna play. So I was like, why would you tell him that? So I get really mad because it's very crucial. The strategies, the play styles, and just the meta in your head.
I mean, come on, if you're gonna move a piece, and sometimes the people are like they don't see that his scissors, his unit is there. Just tell him, are you sure you want to do that? His thing. He's like, oh no, I don't want to do that. And
that's how he lost last time. Remember you said that? You sure you want to do that? It was Board Gaming Mama on Instagram, and you were like, sure you want to do that? After that, Alex got smoked through the whole game.
I don't know if it's the competitive Leo in me, but I always want to try to beat designers. So
you'll beat him really easily.
That's what I have to do.
Oh man,
it
gets heated. I remember one time we played against the people from Chile, Bits and Cartones, man, and I was going against Pocho and
his wife, the other, yeah.
And this game I was losing bad, and it was fast. It was like in 20 minutes I had about down 2 units. I only had 2 units, and she had 6 or 5. Alex, 5?
She had like 5. She was up there. She was.
Yeah, and only had 2 units. She had 5, and I'm like, I'm gonna lose. What I wanted to like make it quick because I wanted them to experience it. But then it got serious for some reason. The way she was playing, the way she was playing.
Turn the switch on.
She was playing serious, but she was playing to win, and it just triggered my brain to like, oh man, I can't let her win this. Come on. And so I got really serious, and the game lasted an hour, I think 20, and I won. I won the game
45 minutes, and they stretched it because they were both playing like, oh my goodness.
I won the game though.
She got very conservative and protective when she was being aggressive because she got scared. And Edgar started playing very carefully and I'm like, oh my god, this game is. But they're one of the best. They're awesome. They're amazing people. They're one of our biggest fans.
They loved it from that game. They just loved the game. They wanted it on their house.
Edgar beat a fan.
I had to represent the pigeon, man.
Yeah,
sorry.
Don't take it easy on fans. Come on. And I think that speaks volumes actually to the content of the game. So what would you guys say to maybe someone who's a super hardcore Euro gamer? They really look at strategy games or lighter strategy games and be like, I don't know if that can be fulfilling enough for me. We actually think it can be. So what would you say to someone?
Oh, that's a good question. Such a good question. So every game has its fans, and we never want to like bash or exclude anybody from anything. Everybody has their fans. A board game is a board game. It travels from. So we would never say like this game is not for you. What I would say is give it a shot. Try it. You don't know until you play it. If you don't like it, we understand. It's okay. But we do want to listen to you. Tell us why you don't like it, Because this is not the only game that we would like to develop in the future. We got one. We want to expand upon that. We would love to make the big games. We want to do that. But we need to also show that we can make board games. So we wanted to stay smaller, tighter, something more casual. Even though we feel like the game is deep, it still has a very casual feeling because the game can be completed in 30 minutes, even less, if you actually go boom, 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 fast. But I know there are games out there that even me and Edgar played that it takes 3 hours to learn, 3 hours to play, and even the first time you play it, you might have gotten something wrong or rules not clear. We must have.
Right now, when we play games, we almost always get a rule wrong the first 50 times we play it, maybe. Haven Liz.
There's been times when I play games and we play like 3 or 4 times. It's Spirit Island, I think it was one of them, which is not even the most complicated game out there. It's not, but I learned with my son, which he was I think 9 at the time, and he's the one that sat down with the rule book after we played it like 3 or 4 times. We're like, I forgot what the rule was, but he was like, "Hey, Dad,
No,
you're doing this wrong."
Liz reread the rule book for Gloomhaven, which that's not even that complicated.
Oh, I heard. I saw what you said about that.
Yeah.
I saw the YouTube video. I was like, "Oh boy."
About 10 rules we've missed in the course of the year and a half we played it.
And we're always learning something new every time.
But that's the beauty of board games at the same time, because even though it's okay, a video game, right? You can only, if the game only allows you to go up, you can only go up unless you somehow break it, like like do a hack or whatever, like a glitch. But if it only allows you to press that button at that moment, it's the only time you could press it. But board games, you could make, and that's part of the game actually, because when you're playing with somebody and somebody else does something, and you didn't catch it, that's part of the fun of it. It's freedom. Board games are freedom. We love that part of it. We love that aspect. So, did you guys play it wrong, or did you guys play with house rules?
That's what we love when we call our mistakes.
Yeah, we think we played Ro Sham Bo correctly, but we are kind of curious. So those cards that you keep one, you give to the other. Were some of them, when you were going through your development process, like super overpowered? And like, how many iterations of those did you have to go through before you settled on what you are on now?
Totally. We got rid of one controversial card. Edgar had a big feeling. We actually had an argument over it.
Oh,
we didn't want to kill each other. But we actually had a big discussion. It was Nemesis. So Nemesis allowed you to like self-destruct and kill your other opponent, and we felt like that was such a cool card, a cool concept. But I always said this. I said, and it's a rule that Edgar also implied also. He said, we don't want to have cards that affect other people's strategies when it comes to we want to limit them. Like we don't want to really force other players to move or do something, and it doesn't affect you at all. So Nemesis, once you get that card, you could keep it until the end of the game. We started saying like, this is a card you babysit, because once you get it, let's say you're winning by one more piece. Edgar has 2 pieces, I have 1 piece, and he has Nemesis. All he has to do is whip that card out. The game is over.
Yeah.
So we decided to get rid of that card. That was a tough choice, and a few other things, like when we got rid of the tokens, we had to redo all the cards, all the passive cards. We kept a lot of the core elements, like the what they're all about. But we had to modify them all because it's no longer unit specific. It's no longer just scissors. It's just papers. So they were all modified as well. But that's tough. That was tough.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's probably hard because you've played it so long.
My girl woke up.
You're good.
I have had alarms go off plenty of times.
Honey.
I'm just scared about the construction. I'm scared there's going to be some drilling happening here.
We had fireworks in just the last video we did, so we're like...
I got 2 little ones running around here. So.
A lot of cards changed, definitely. Yeah, Nemesis was a big one. Remember, Alex? We actually removed we moved the passive card or 2 of Defensive March. Do you remember that one, Alex?
We got rid of the Defensive March, and we got rid of 2 passive cards.
Yeah.
And we kind of combined 2 cards together as well, and we made brand new ones. Joker's banners.
We thought the layout of the passive versus the aggressive. What are the aggressive ones called again?
Immediate.
The immediate cards. I like. You can tell you spent a lot of time really dividing them and making sure they felt like what they were. So I think that's great.
Yeah,
it's always tough when you try to because even when you're developing board games or developing anything, you have to create your own rules in the background. Even so, the development process, like, what are your rules? What can you and cannot do? Because you have to keep it within the theme, right? So if you start making pieces do things, breaking the rules of the game too much, too far, you're straying out of the whole idea of the core of the game. So it's funny. It's like a game inside the game. We have to make our own rules in developing the game. And we stick with them. That's part of it.
Well, one of the things we said in our written review that'll also be going up to coincide with your
Kickstarter. Yeah, we like your written review. It's cute.
Oh yeah, I love that written review.
Well, we love your game, and we feel like it's a love letter to games in a way. You've got your classic mechanics. You've got kind of like almost Magic the Gathering with like the.
Well, we just heard that.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, just games in general. First game you each fell in love with, and how you got into the hobby.
Oh, wow.
Fall in love with. We had a different question before when it comes to what was our first game. First game we fell in love with, though. That's a different question. Edgar, you could go first.
I'll say because that would make sense because we got into board games a little bit later, like intensely. So I actually started getting into board games when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to college, we started to hang out in people's places, and a lot of people. I went to college in Arizona and Tucson, and a lot of people played board games, and people started whipping out a bunch of games, and it was really fun. But one game that stuck that I started with, which is kind of popular. It's popular now. It's Catan. I started with Catan, and when I played Catan, I was like, this game, like I love this game, but I know this game is like my brother's game. This is Alexis's game. This game, he's gonna freaking love it. And when I had the opportunity to come back to visit New York, I brought a copy to Catan. Did I bring the copy, Alex, or did you buy a copy?
No, you came to New York and you bought me a copy.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was like,
You bought a copy in New York.
I was like, we gotta play this, and like that right there, when Alexis played Catan, that's when he went board game crazy.
It opened the door, yeah.
Yeah, it opened the door, which was amazing because it kind of just synergized of what we were doing now. But that was our first. But a game that I kind of like here in New York now, like when in a couple of years, what I fell in love with, I think it brought a lot of family togetherness. I want to say what's more popular here is Red Dragon Inn.
Red Dragon.
Yeah.
We played that years ago, Liz, didn't we?
Yeah, it's been a while. It was fun though. I really enjoyed it.
It's such a casual game to easily to micromanage your health system,
Yeah.
and read the cards, and then you know what it does. And it's very open to who to attack, and it causes a lot of banter, and it brings that a lot of social interactions and stuff. It's really fun. It's also a good place to drink too.
I do have to coattail your question just for my indulgent self.
Feel free.
What's your favorite video games? You said you're a video
Yes.
game.
Oh my!
So
This is gonna be long.
This is like
Yeah, I would be like,
my favorite board game is actually, I'm gonna go classic. I'm gonna go chess. Okay, so that's my fall in love with chess. Can't go wrong. That's, if anything is anything, that's you can't go. That's a real OG. But when it comes to video games, Edgar, I guess you're gonna have to take this one too. It's such a hard question.
I
no,
can't.
One. The rest is here.
I can't. It's hard personally. Like I can't have a favorite game. I can tell you what's the game I played the most. What influenced me a lot. Yes, I could definitely tell you that. But there are so many games out there that kind of make me and make my brother like who we are and why we love games so much. There are so many types of elements. But I grew when I grew during my preteens and teenage life. Halo was a very heavy game for me. I played I played since I was like 9 or 10 when Halo 1 came out, and I was the best player amongst adults at the time. He's
insane in Halo.
Yeah, we used to do LAN parties. We used to go around the block here and do LAN parties, and you see this little 9-year-old kid with a bow haircut, and he's just destroying everybody. And that kind of like motivated me to keep playing the game. I took it a little bit professionally.
Yeah,
and
what is it called? MLG?
Went to MLG, went to Dallas, Texas,
yeah.
In Halo 2 and stuff like that. So that is more of like I played it a lot, but there are so many games that I played that I love. Like, like my favorite. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you know what?
Don't they have another one coming out in fall?
Yeah. Infinite.
You know, I have my favorite. I got my favorite game. I know what it is.
You know your favorite game? Yeah, your favorite game.
Rimworld. I don't know if you guys know what it is. Rimworld.
We looked into it. We have a short. Okay, so we're kind of video game addicts, right? Also, we have a short list. It's like number 2 on that. We really want to look into it. That's kind of that
game is insane.
It's a world building management. If I tell you how many hours I have in that thing, it's ridiculous. It's I just love, and that would be an amazing way that has potential for a board game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing is like so. You know, Halo came out with a board game.
Yes.
Bang.
Wait, they did?
Also,
What
Bang
game
too.
was
Remember
that?
Bang Science Fiction?
No, that's the IP. Bang made a version of Bang of Halo. No, there's a literal Halo board game with a map and little like the statue. I think little characters.
I only know of Bang.
No, it's an actual Halo, and it does not look that great. Go online. I think it's really hard to find. Go on YouTube. You'll see it's ridiculous. Don't get me wrong. I think it's probably good, but I think it's too. It's hard to take to take a first person kind of shooter and make it into a. I think they try to go to like kind of idea.
They
Like
have a lot of lore. That's hard.
You know.
Well, I'm gonna get us back on track, even though I could talk about video games.
Yeah. This might be like 2 hours.
So that doesn't reprimand me later.
Well, I mean, I could just go ahead and, you guys keep talking about video games, and I could do a drawing or something. You guys have seen my sketches. They're awesome, right?
Exactly.
But speaking
I'm
of
curious,
design sketches, what was that, Edgar?
I'm very curious. I just want to know, what is Liz's favorite video game?
Well, I don't play video games. I have watched Jerome play Rust a lot. That one's cool looking, and that Battle Royale thing that has those dances.
Fortnite.
Yes, Fortnite. That one's fun to watch.
You liked Sinking City when you visited here. Too.
Yeah. I like telling Jerome where to go for that one, but he didn't like playing that one.
What are we doing right now? We're catching up on the most recent.
Frostpunk. Well, Dishonored 2.
Disco Elysium.
Good game.
And Zero Dawn. I've never played.
Oh, man, Zero Dawn. I got that on my. Oh man, I gotta get. That's the game on my wish list. Once we settle, because we've been on this developing. Me and Edgar talk about it because we're developing especially now it's like the last 3 months are crazy. We want to take a good weekend and just play video games for just a little bit, just because I haven't touched anything. We haven't touched nothing. It's crazy.
Horizon Zero Dawn is amazing. Okay, that's it.
Okay, so I'm gonna get us back on track. I have.
Chrono Trigger. I love Chrono Trigger.
What?
Now segment's over.
Silver. Okay, so a question for you, Alexis. So you've been in fashion and graphic design before. How has that impacted?
Oh, wow. Wait,
How did you know?
Well, while you guys were talking about video games, I had to do something. So yeah, so personal question time. How has how has your love for fashion and graphic design impacted your game design?
So I went to school for graphic design. That was my main thing, and fashion wasn't really on my list of things to do as a career. But when I was being hired, I was hired to do like the labels and do CADs for clothing. And apparently I was pretty good at it. But where I really ended up flourishing wasn't in the design aspect, but it was in the management and production. So I kind of evolved into how to manage a position in a company. I was there for like 15 years. I left a few times, in the middle because, options and ideas. And then I ended up living in China for 4 years. And I built an office over there of like 30 employees, and I started sourcing factories, negotiating, and just, I had my own design team, I had my production team, I had my logistics team, I had, the whole 9 yards. I had my sales team, and then I was in America, and I did that again, and then I built a team here. And where it adapted the most, I could say, is on the production side. Design, of course, I had my designers, but they're the designers. They come to you and show you, hey, do you like this? And I go, yes or no, right? So, but it's the overall management, and that's where it's benefiting me the most in developing this game is knowing to make, the business side of it. Going out there and manufacturing in China, it's the Wild West. You go out there and you look for a factory, and you're gonna give them money to say, hey, can you make this for me? You go in there blindly, Luckily, I have connections. I have connections in the logistics. I have connections in the manufacturing. I got people over there that could go to the factories and check them out, because that's what I used to do all the time. Is to go to the factories and look at the production, make sure everything's being done right, Can't do that right now because of the COVID situation. But luckily, I got people over there that could go and do that for me. Connections that I had that are deep rooted for many years. So that's where it benefited the most. And doing this with my brother, it's literally a 2-person team. We have one more person that did the art illustrations for us, prints, and he did the cards. And that's literally what we are. So I'm taking all this experience that I had in managing, decision making, production, manufacturing, and it's just 3 of us now alone. And that's actually the easier part. The hard part is spreading the word.
Well,
to people.
You're not off the hook either.
No,
you got
not.
a personal also.
Equal opportunity internet stalking. So Edgar, majoring in game design is so cool. Like, I could still continue to list video games that we've been playing, so I wish I could have done that. Can you talk a little bit about what made you decide to study that in college and what the experience was like?
Yeah, funny thing about that is when I graduated from high school, I always my brothers and my family always encouraged me to go to college, and I always looked up to my brothers and stuff what they did. And one is worked more in IT and tech stuff, and Alexis worked. I looked at him, and at the time he was doing graphic design. So I think that's where he was starting, and I saw that. I thought it was really cool. But my brothers told me, like, hey, go to college, do something you love doing. We'll support you all the way. And when I kept going through my high school life and played video games and stuff like that. When I hit graduation, I actually didn't know yet what I wanted to do. The only thing I was thinking about is art, and I was like, let's just keep it simple. Let's keep it vanilla. Let's go graphic design in New York City, and I go and. I'm about to get my associates. I think I'm like one semester in last semester into my associates, and I was in the class and I was sitting down and I was like, can I do this for the rest of my life? and in my head it like the cogs went. I'm like, I can't do this. And I kind of was drawing back and started to see what are my opportunities. And games and art game design did not exist in New York. Doesn't exist in New York.
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta go out of state and all this and all that. And luckily, I took the chance because at that time I just felt like video games is tangible. It's there. The tech is there. There's been schools, and I feel like I can actually do it rather than being squared and boxed into something just because I could do art. Let me try to do something that I would love to do, which is video games. And I went to Arizona. I went to Tucson, Arizona. Got my bachelor's there, and it was a blast from there. Ever since there, I'm forever passionate to this craft, and I just want to keep aiming for that. Yeah.
And that's what we're using during the second round of developing. We're using Edgar's 3D experience, and he literally did all the sculpting for the models for the hands. They completely changed because the one that were done before there back then, the one that he has in the back, those are done by hand.
Yeah.
I made
with
polymer clay, and they're baked. But
don't stop shaming me. Stop shaming.
No, I have the broken one somewhere.
Sorry.
So those were the first ones that we made. But then after that's how they were going to be for the production. But then when we did the second round, the second Kickstarter, we were like, let's take it to the next level. Eric, why don't you go and just sculpt these things, Do it with and that's what he did. He now has these really beautifully made sculpted 3D models, and that's how we're gonna produce them. And also all the artwork, the new box art that we have is all 3D, and the trailer that we did, it's all 3D. Edgar made that whole world.
Oh wow.
Everything. Yeah, so he did all that by his 3D experience, which it brings it to life. It brings the whole world to life.
I wanted to touch on that with the very last. We got one more serious question, then we got something fun for you guys to do. But yeah, we loved the sculpts of them. Just made it so much more fun. Like I keep shaming myself for the couple fingers I broke, but it was so much fun to play with the pieces and to represent the rock paper scissors nature of it, even though it's such a more complex, deep game than that. And the new box looks amazing, by the way.
Yeah? Oh, man. I love it.
It went to 2 iterations, by the way. The first one, and then Edgar actually went on Facebook and asked people in Facebook, He said, "What do you guys think about this?" And they, they have voices and people have opinion, and we don't take opinions like, I know a lot of people take opinions negatively, like, oh, they don't do. No. We want to hear people.
I think that collaboration is really important, especially with people that are going to be consumers, and
Exactly.
you can be inside your own little design bubble, and it's like an echo chamber, and you see it all the time, so it gives you a different perspective. So I
You
think
need the perspective, absolutely. The voice is everybody else out there. And Edgar took all these opinions and he actually redid the entire artwork of it, or all the new, and he made brand new art box art. Even though I love both of them, we got to listen to the people. We have to.
obsessed with the gloves too. I love the fighting gloves they have on.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
cool.
and I do have one more question about the sculptures. Like, we did a little bit of looking through your Instagram, and the first iterations, you guys have like the rock, is a rock in the hand, and then a paper in the.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are cool sculpts. What made you go with a standard, scissors, paper, rock versus a hand holding a rock?
You want to know really the honest reason? The real reason is funny.
Yes.
We couldn't figure out how to do scissors.
Cool. I mean, that
For
makes
some reason, because when we're doing the thing, the hands, the hands, right? You got the rock. The rock could just hold it right inside.
I may have
And-
the old builds, right?
And
Let
then
me try.
the paper, it goes across, right? So it all stays within
The
circle. But scissors pops out so much.
Oh,
And
that's
it
so
was-
cute.
That was
Yeah.
you see how contained it is?
Yeah.
It's contained. So but the scissors was like, what do I do with scissors? So I ended up using like these
it
sewing
wasn't
scissors.
it wasn't a bad idea. It
I
wasn't
used
a
the
bad
sewing
idea.
scissors, but nobody who's gonna understand this. So it's like something that I learned in fashion.
Let's see, like
It was-
this, and then it connect. I think it connects this way.
Yeah, that was the sewing scissors, and it was like even
Oh,
that.
yeah, it looks kind of like a needle.
Yeah, when we did
But it
actual
looks
scissors,
cool.
it was like double the size. You're like, how are we gonna put that in the box? See, the paper is contained. The paper is contained. It's holding it.
That is cool.
We couldn't figure out the scissors, so we let it go. It was
I
that.
love what you guys settled on, though. I really think it's
Yeah.
a cool
We
look,
did try it.
We tried it.
fresh with the gloves. I mean, I really think it's a great look.
Yeah, it's great,
Yeah.
and it's more like when you see the scissors, it's kind of like a universal symbol.
So as a final question, I know you guys are like a nice family-based team. What's it like as a company, as designers, working as a family? I think I would both love and strangle working with my brother if I had to.
No, we don't like each other at all.
Right.
Yeah, this is the first time we actually collaborated.
Yeah, we barely see. We try our best not to see each other. No, man,
We're the mediators right now.
with all honesty, he's a little brother. I'm the middle one. We actually have an older brother. We're all 7 years apart. He's 7 years younger than me. My older brother is 7 years older. And honestly, the only thing that I wish we could do is if we could actually get my older brother to actually join us. That's how much we love being with each other. So to the future, hopefully, maybe we could do something together. He's also very artistic.
Yeah.
He used to do a lot when he was younger, comic book stuff. He says he's not good at it. I'm like, we got a wall.
Yeah.
He draws on the wall and where Edgar lives right now. Maybe he'll give you a picture later of Spider-Man.
Yeah, I'm like
It's
the
like-
guy.
It's
I'm
like
the guy. Yeah.
human size.
I'm like the guy that like learned. I had to like forcefully learn how to do art. I had to like. It's all about practice and precision for me. It's all about. It's like playing an instrument. When I play guitar, it's always practice. But when my brother is just he's like, oh yeah, let me just do a doodle, and it's like, it's like a perfect
And I remember
comic book rendition on the wall.
he did it too. He took a reference from a cereal box. The cereal box had like these comic books that they were giving out. They were like made in pulp paper. They were tiny like this, and he took that little thing and he drew this life-size. Freaking, it's just awesome. But that's my older brother. But yeah, we're close.
Slightly jealous.
We're close. We're close knitted. It's been great. The best part about working with my brother is that we're not afraid to get into arguments. Sometimes when you argue with other people, like if you're working with like a friend or something, you don't want to insult them. You don't want to offend them. with my brother, we insult and defend each other all the time, but we're brothers. We don't care. You know, at the end of the day, we love each other.
Yeah, we know it's love. We know that, like, let's say, like, if Alexis is adamant about something, he gets really mad. Like, I know that it's important, and we know, and it's worth arguing or debate about, because we're trying to make something. We're both equally passionate to make something. So we need that yin and yang to make the best product out there. You can't just be agreeing with something and let's just ship it out.
Yeah.
No, like, I argued so many times with mechanics with Alex, because it was good, it was legit, but to me it's like, is this gonna work for this type of game? Is this gonna work for this? What if this? And making this game, that's pretty much what it was, and it became something that we just both love and we agree everything about it.
You cannot be afraid to be critical.
Yeah.
And if you could be critical on yourself, but to have an outside person to say something, it's even better.
Well, I love that. And you can see the camaraderie. And I'm sorry that we forced you guys together today for this mediating. We're mediating.
Yeah. I have my lawyer listening.
I'm about to call my mom and complain now.
Well, maybe she could get some Pearly Pigeon comics out. Get your big brother wrangled in.
But we have a treat for you for surviving this grueling exercise with us.
It's like dessert.
Yeah, exactly. So we have kind of like one of those lame BuzzFeed quizzes that you get an answer that you're like, okay, right, whatever.
Oh, man.
And it's going to lead to a new mini that obviously will be mandatorily added to your game. As an LDG exclusive. I mean, come on. So there's going to be one for each of you, so you both answer each question individually, okay? These are really serious, so I want you to take it really serious.
Okay.
Liz, take it away.
Well, I don't know who mine is for, so one of you can answer. Oh, wait. You guys are both answering all of them. Gotcha. I was like, wait a second. I thought that was...
got our own answers, or we answer together?
You each have an individual answer. And you can tell we really went over the rules of this before.
Yeah, exactly. So all other game mechanisms are eliminated. You can only choose this game mechanism to exist for the rest of time. Do you choose hidden movement, deck building, or press your luck?
I say deck building.
Okay, Alexis's deck building. That's all you ever get from now on.
Yeah.
Good luck.
I'm gonna have to agree with Alex. I gotta do deck building too.
The reason is
men
because
after my heart.
it could go so big. You could just keep on expanding upon that, right? Like there's like the rules are within the deck.
We didn't think about that loophole. You can just keep going.
I love a good loophole.
You can really exploit that.
Yeah.
My deck includes all these other mechanics.
Exactly. Like, you can move in the deck. One of the cards could do that.
Right. Okay, so let's say you have some visitors to New York and you want to take them to some of the tourist spots. Which do you choose first? Broadway, Central Park, or the Staten Island Ferry?
Shit, man, I'm all Broadway, man. I love Broadway.
After my own heart.
I'm all about Broadway.
So then why didn't you guys introduce me to Central Park first?
Because it's cheap.
You said my answer. I was gonna say Central Park.
Exactly that.
It's expensive. I think I've been maybe like 7 times in my whole life.
Exactly. Here's $4 for a hot dog. Go away.
If you go to the shows and stuff, I mean, the last thing I saw was the Book of Mormon.
Oh, love that.
That was already annoying. I mean, I had to save up.
The last thing we saw was Come From Away.
That's right.
And it's just, and if you guys get a chance, we're gonna geek out for a second. It's an
Amazing.
earth-shattering show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like we had no idea going on. I was like, I don't know if it's going to be good or depressing, but it's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, and mine, the most important. Pigeons.
What was Edgar's?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Edgar.
I thought it was Central Park.
That's Central Park, yeah.
Also.
Apparently I'm listening better than you two.
We got synergy. It's where the blocks are at. That's why.
Yeah, like we are together, and then it's all of you guys. I guess I should say.
Okay, unfortunately, pigeons don't exist anymore. Okay?
No.
Pigeons don't exist anymore?
They don't
That's
exist
sad.
anymore. You have to pick So, in an alternate reality, what other pea animal is your logo and company name?
That
Is it
sounded so wrong.
The animal.
a porcupine, a pearly piranha, or a pearly platypus? Platypus. Platypus.
The platter.
Porcupine, platypus, or piranha?
Yeah.
I wouldn't go for piranha. Piranhas. I mean, that's me, Edgar. They're just too
Aggressive?
like you. What's your image of piranhas? It's just bone and flesh.
Think about it like a happy piranha with like a pearl in its mouth.
Yeah,
Though.
yeah.
Sure.
It's like happy. Understood.
Platypus, and the other one was porcupine. I guess I'll go with the porcupine. What about you, Edgar?
Man, pearly platypus, man. You could do so much with that. There's so
I know
much,
they got a lot of abilities. They got venomous, the claws. They poison, and
they're mad cute. They got like the little wet feet and they look like ducks.
Yeah, I was
They're
thinking,
like
like, with it on its
and those
nose or
things are-
something, trying to balance
they're
it.
so brutal, man. Those animals, they'll mess you up.
You're acting like a New Yorker not liking pigeons. All about the platypuses, man. I love
Exactly.
platypuses.
Could you imagine seeing any of these just walking down the street in New York? Well, yeah,
Right?
actually, I could.
actually could, yeah. With
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
I saw a raccoon. I mean, I know raccoons are very common, in the parks. But to see one in New York walking out of the office and looking up and seeing it on the street sign, a freaking raccoon. Those things they look a lot bigger when they're next to you, in the middle of Manhattan.
Well, I'm from the country in Ohio, so yeah, we got all kinds of critters. Okay, the minis that you guys have landed on, and these are obviously mandatory. So Edgar, you got Pinky Promise, so it's going to be one of these guys, and I feel like it's like a manipulative. It's got like manipulative powers, so you like promise people things, but so that's what its strengths are. And then Alexis, you got my favorite, Flip the Bird, which I will not burn. But that's obviously a very aggro power. It's all like
I could like Pinky promise you to never do that to me. Right?
haven't balanced the powers yet, okay?
Unless you flip the bird and then I can't do it.
Wow, can I Pinky Promise with my flip bird?
Yeah, I think that's like a more powerful version of it anyway.
there you go.
Right.
Well, thank you guys so much. Is there anything else you want to say about your project before we jump off here?
Sure. We hope that you can try out the game someday and then enjoy it and experience it. It's an intimate game for both of us, and we hope that you see it as well the same way. And it was fun. It was great talking with you guys. You guys are awesome.
Thanks.
It was fun talking to you too.
We said it before. We wanted to meet you guys. Now we want to meet you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like it's full circle now. It feels
Totally
really good about that.
Totally go out there, get a beer and stuff. Once this whole thing cools down even further,
We
which
gotta
is
get on an airplane then.
We'll go to a game
You-
cafe.
we could do a Skype call with you.
Oh yeah, we could do.
Oh,
it.
so
We
you
could
want to
do it
meet
online,
them
game
in person
chat.
and just do another Skype call with me?
Exactly. Yes, for
You need to come here. You need to
No, we could do it like this too. We could all be set. We could hang out.
Hey, at least you get drunk in your own home and not feel bad about it. Liz, you don't even have to wear pants. No one will know. I'm just glad that you guys' energy matches ours because we're kind of intense sometimes. So, thank you so much for hanging out with us, guys. And we will be promoting the heck out of this because we really believe in this game and think it's awesome. So,
And
It's an honor, guys.
do changes too. Like, can't wait.
Oh, the game changed. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
It's still familiar. It just got simpler and faster. That's what happened.
great.
Sweet.
Well, thank you so much again, Alexis and Edgar. With Pearly Pigeon, guys, please check out their Kickstarter. It's going to be very cool. And we will continue to pepper it out there until it's everywhere. So thanks again, everybody.
Thank
Thanks,
you
guys.
so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. Also, if you find value in our content, please like, comment, or subscribe. Let a friend or family member know that we exist. Help us spread our channel and bring remote gaming to a table near you. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
I love those minis.
We are going to paint out of those guys.
I like how it's like a different glove for each side, too.